the Anandyatra, take everybody into this Anandyatra towards the Anandamaya Kosha. That is the real yoga.
Great.
And playing. No? Every day, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, I was playing. Holiday means the whole day. My professor was there.
Okay, great.
He said, you are not selected.
Yes.
That's how I came to research.
Like some divine plan was guiding you throughout the journey.
Correct.
Yes.
Caltech is a very big thing in California. But I said, having come to America, I have not seen snow.
Okay.
So my choice was Harvard because there was a lot of snow.
Yeah,
in California, you don't get much snow. That's how it goes. Purnamadaha, Purnamidam said, this is full, that also should be full. That cannot be Shunya. That's how the Advaita came. These are all incorporated in the Upanishad and other. And what is the relation between the two? Purnat, Purnam, Budachyate. What about 14 years back when the new administration came, new Prime Minister, they were very strong Islamic people. And they said yoga is Hindu, therefore we don't allow. Ban.
Correct.
Charya in its real sense means being in tune with Brahman, all the time in tune with ultimate reality. Yogastaha, Kuru Karmani, Swami Vivekananda and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa were great because of their previous samskaras.
Welcome to Anandyatra podcast, Journey to Bliss Yatra. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo, Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat, Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri, Guruve Namah. Today we are honored to have Yog Shri, Padma Shri, Dr. H.R. Nagendra ji with us, and I am sitting at his house, Panchajanya in Svyasa. We are glad that sir accepted our invitation to come to our channel Anandyatra podcast. So sir, welcome and grateful. Thanks to you that you accepted.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. How are you, sir?
Very good. Thank you.
Great. So today, let me tell you, like all of you are who are engaging, a little bit about sir. And he is like, as I started with the Guru Mantra, known as the Yoga Guru, and has a technical background from an IC Bangalore. He's from IC Bangalore. He's a PhD scholar from there, and he's a mechanical engineer. And after that, he went to his search for reality. That is what this life is all about. He's involved in the research also. He went to US for NASA as a research associate there. So today we were exploring in this podcast like what is the journey and what are like his experiences and few questions that you have asked later on. So Guruji, I want to start with the question like how, like when you were a child, so what was it like you begin from that, and now you explored the journey, you are an engineer and then you are a yoga guru, so many things with you. So how you will explore your journey to all of us?
It was a very interesting journey right from our childhood, that my father and my grandfather and others were always encouraging me to go for sports, playing. And up to my SSLC, they never allowed me to read any book. Now what is happening to children, right from childhood at the age of 3-4, they load them with lot of books and cram their brain with these things. So this is the first main difference that we did. I was playing. Every day, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, I was playing. Holiday means the whole day playing. So this is the first change that my father and my parents allowed me to do.
Okay.
During holidays, they said, yes, you must do more and more of skilling, various dimensions, various types of other games and others. So I was always very fond of rain outside. When the rain comes, we will just run out and then enjoy the rain like this. So this is how my early days were full of joy, happiness and bliss.
Yes.
This is the first dimension. Then I wanted to go for medicine because my aunt wanted that I should become a doctor and then serve the people for their health purposes. Therefore, when I completed my PUC, then I got the job. I got the admission in medical college, but they said you have to wait 1 more year because I was short for 1 year to join that.
Okay.
We're going to wait for 1 hour, 1 year. Let me go and join the regular BSc. I joined BSc. Then my grandfather said, no, you go for engineering,
Okay.
and you got a job there and you have to go immediately. Then my father said, where is money? We are very poor, My grandfather immediately gave money for the fees and everything. I went for engineering.
Okay.
My father always wanted that I should go to physics because he was a physics professor.
Great.
So I should go and then learn quantum mechanics and others. But everything in my life turned according to the divine will.
Yes.
Did my mechanical engineering. Then I went to Indian Institute of Science and continued my journey for masters. After ME, I wanted to go along with my friends to Durgapur to do a lot of applicational research, technology research,
Utility.
rather than going for PhD and others. But my professor, Dr. Ramchandran, in the Institute of Science said, no, you have to be in research. Now, sir, already have decided I'll go to Durgapur, and my friend Ramchandra, Nasimurthy, all these people are going to go. We'll go for the interview. If I don't get a job there, then I will join you. This is what I told.
Yes.
Then we all went there, and we all went for the interview. Who was the interview committee? My professor was there, Ramchandra.
Okay, great.
He said, you are not selected. That's how I came to research.
Like some divine plan was guiding you
Different,
throughout
yes,
the journey.
correct.
Yes.
As a result, what happened, all our friends who went to Durgapur, they were all frustrated in 1 year, 2 years. They all wanted to do some very good applicational research, develop some new things, everything. There was such problems. And it all came out that I did not go there. Many of those people left the things and went somewhere. Then after PhD, then I wanted to come over here and then start doing this internal research more and more.
Okay.
But our people said that yes, you go outside also and then see what is happening in the world.
Correct.
The best of the education institutions, best of the research labs and other things you go. That's how I ended up in going to United States. First I went to Canada, in Vancouver, in University of British Columbia. There I was working on the greenhouse. My subject is heat transfer, and greenhouses. How during severe winter we can protect the plants, and for that the greenhouse had to be done. Then how is the heat transfer takes place there, what are the things that all worked. Also I worked on what is called as turbulence and other things. Then when I was doing, I got the offer from NASA. I came to Huntsville in Alabama in the United States, and it was a wonderful experience because starting from a small rocket to the gigantic Saturn rocket were all built there in that Marshall Space Flight Center. And I had wonderful experience there and made their own contribution. Then I wanted to see a very big university, and naturally Harvard, MIT, Caltech were all the choices. Then I got admission, okay, come and then do postdoctoral research there. Then where to go? Caltech is a very big thing in California. But I said, having come to America, I have not seen snow.
Okay.
So my choice was Harvard because there was a lot of snow.
Yeah, great.
In California, you don't get much snow. That's how I chose Harvard, And as a consultant in engineering sciences lab, where I was working on fire research. In NASA, I was working at very cold, that is the things that was very, very low temperatures, minus 260, liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen and other things, That's called as cryogenic engineering, Whereas here, very high temperature. At that time, in New York, what was happening is high skyscrapers were being built.
Okay.
And the fire would spread all over and it will burn up the whole thing.
Oh my God.
How to prevent that? Therefore, that was the research we had. Then, after that project was over, then I came to London to see what is happening in United Kingdom about engineering. I was in Imperial College of Science and Technology. Then came back to Indian Institute of Science. I had 1 or 2 students who were to complete their PhD under me. I finished that, and then I came to here, to Prashanti Kuteram. I want to settle down. But I wanted to see what is happening in Kanyakumari. I went there to see Swami Vivekananda statue and these things. So there was a conference in Trivandrum. It's called Indian Rocket Society. There, I went there to present my work of NASA.
Okay.
And afterwards, I went to Kanyakumari. There, I got stuck with Eklaji Narade. He was the architect of the complete rock memorial. He said, you have to be here. And I said, already I have decided to come here and then develop these things, our village work we have to do and develop all these things, because it's a very poor village here. In Gidenhalli, people were so poor, the richest person in the surrounding villages had 1 meal a day.
Okay.
That was the poverty. Therefore, we want to develop these things and do these things, Then I said, no, you have to have a bigger vision for the whole country.
True.
I am developing this Vivekananda Kendra as a service mission. And I want to develop a big yoga research institute. So you must come here and do. So there were a lot of communications and these things, deliberations. Finally, our auntie who is here, she made a compromise. 6 months there, 6 months here.
Okay. Yes.
So that's why I went there and I started. They made me to see that you spend 6 months there and do all the things that are needed for them to train the workers.
True.
They made me the director of training. Then after 6 months I will come here. We had a lot of retreats, spiritual retreats, and see that it comes out like this.
Great.
So that's how the journey started. And I was there until his death, 1987. And after that, I started coming more and more here, started developing this. In the meantime, in 1978, my sister, Dr. Nagendra, she was in England.
Okay.
She is a medical expert.
Yes.
She is MBBS, MD. Then she went to England. She did MRCP in the record time. And then I asked her to come. She also came to Kanyakumari. We started yoga therapy work.
Okay.
But there was no response in Kanyakumari. Nagarkoil in Trivandrum, it's new. So she started getting frustrated. Then Eknath said, okay, I can go to Bangalore and start there. We started the research there. And we got our work on yoga for bronchial asthma. And our first paper got published in British Medical Journal. That brought us all over the world,
True.
And Dr. Nagendra was called, okay, in America there is University of Colorado. They said, you come there and we'll take care of your travel, everything. You give a talk and we'll start research. Like that we spread.
Wonderful.
So in United Kingdom and then Japan and the United States, everywhere work started developing. And more research and everything came up.
Wonderful.
This is the whole story
Yes.
which made this Prashanti Kuteram, Svyasa University and other.
Amazing, Guruji, and it is feeling us also like you are taking the journey, but we are still also feeling the goosebumps that you are going through that. So I want to know when you are going through and now you have covered the journey, what you feel is the reason for the purpose that you took so much journey, you are exploring everything, and I read about you you are in searching for the reality. I asked you earlier also. So what is that reality is all about? We all are searching in our own terms. So what that actually reality is, that took you from that IIC, that is topmost institute, from NASA, that is another technical topmost institute. So what is that reality, and how or what role does research play in that? Because more of when we look at the Western countries, it's more of research oriented, we want to know the reason. So, and you are both, your one leg is in that spirituality, one leg is in that research oriented. So you better explain that, how is that?
When I was in Institute of Science, all our PhD students were all top on the line. We all used to sit like this, think and chit chat and communicate like this thing. And then a question used to come to all our minds, that what is the purpose of this research that we are doing? Why this scientific research came up? Then we went to the times of Newton and Descartes, and they said the objective of research is to search for reality. Is there a fundamental reality from this whole creation has come? That was the search.
Okay.
So In the same way, now we are doing all this research. I am doing mechanical engineering research, he is doing aeronautical, he is doing civil engineering, and then he is doing different things. All toppers are doing it in Indian Institute of Science. Whether we are really going towards that reality, over the last several decades, all research which has taken place, is it driving us towards the reality like this? We all found no. We are only scratching the things here, there, and then we are not going to get at the reality. So if so how to go towards that reality? How to go in the real direction?
Correct.
That was the search that we are having.
True.
We had no answers for that. It was then that I met one Professor Satyanarayan Shastri.
Okay.
He was a professor of chemistry, but he was very well versed in all these Shastras, in Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and the Yoga Vasishtha and everything. Being a scientist himself, he had trodden this journey.
Yes.
And he used to give a lot of lectures here and there, and we went in one of the lectures. We all very influenced. Though we were hearing lectures from different people, they were not very scientific. So it did not impress us. But when Satyanandi said, he said, okay, now we want to have discussion. So he was also very keen, and we started discussions like this thing. Then he said how our ancient masters, search for the reality, just like modern science people are doing, as you are all doing, and they were able to go deeper and deeper. And they found this creation is not only physical. There are the subtle and causal dimensions of this creation. And all these things are available in Upanishads. Upanishads? I had never heard about Upanishads. None of them heard of Upanishads. And then he started explaining various Upanishads and others. They are all in Sanskrit, but there is a lot of English translation. We started studying a little bit. But he said most important is your practice. You must experience. So it is said that Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam is what is said for the teachers. You must know what is it, but you must do the experiment. He said in science what we do, chemistry professor, as I say, hydrogen and oxygen will come together to form water, I will say. Then if you say, okay, and go, you will not understand.
True.
So I will say, okay, go to the lab and start doing the
research
thing. In the lab, when you go there, you bring the hydrogen, you bring the oxygen, come together, you don't get water. So as a brilliant student, he will come and ask me, he said, he was a chemistry professor. Sir, what you said is wrong. How two gases become a water? Not possible. Then I told him, okay, what did I say? H2O. Did you measure 2 units of hydrogen, 1 unit of oxygen? Oh, I did not know that. He goes there and understand how to measure. All measurement techniques he will learn and then put them together. Still he doesn't get water. Again he came to me and said, sir, I went to the lab, I brought this, everything, but no water is coming. So I think you are wrong, he told me. He's a very brilliant and rebellious student, he called me, told. Then I said, okay, how did you put them together? You have to bring the anode, cathode, electrolytically you have to combine. It is not mere mechanical mixing.
True.
Oh, you never told us, sir, Yes, you didn't ask me.
Yes.
This is how you learn entirely.
Correct.
Therefore, what he said is, you all hearing me, but you must do the practice. Go on, do meditation, do the yoga dimension. And we started doing meditation, dealing with the mind, how to silence the mind and go on doing it. Then our experience started coming more and more practice. I was involved in this practice regularly. I used to go to Ramakrishna Mission every day, evening I will go there and sit there and do this thing and study Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, everything. Studying one side, practice. Study, practice.
Wonderful.
Then we found, unless you have good knowledge about Sanskrit, you will not get at the secrets.
Yes.
Whoever translates, they will give their knowledge into that.
True.
Not the real
Not
depth that the Rishis had given. Therefore, we decided we will go for the Sanskrit, this thing. Again, Shastriji helped us to learn the initial Sanskrit.
Yes.
He said how to go into Sanskrit in a very simple way, in the most focused way. He taught us. Then we started working on this thing. Then myself and Nagaratna, both of us, are always very fond of examination.
Okay.
Examination very happy, jump with that.
Yes.
People are get tensed up and stressed, but we said happiness
And we
always.
generally used to get tensed up because of exam.
Then we said, okay, there is Sanskrit college, we'll go and take some examination there. So they got Prathama, Kavya, Sahitya like this. One by one we started taking, in which you have to study Sanskrit and you have to read Sanskrit, you have to write Sanskrit, everything you have to do in this thing. Gadya, Kavya and all these things we did. But we are interested in Upanishads. Therefore, after completing our this thing, we went to the higher exam called Vidvat. In that which we have to take, there is Advaita, Vishtadvaita, everything. We will start to Advaita philosophy. So we took that. And we started studying Sanskrit, everything, and this thing. But side by side, we must also study Dvaita, Vishtadvaita also.
Correct.
We took to the teachers. So we were doing this thing. All that thing we did. So we completed almost study. We were to take exam. By that time, I went to US and she went to UK. So we did not complete
Yes.
the Vidvat.
But that initiation
the
happened.
All these things we studied, everything, and practiced this side. So by that, we are all convinced that yes, this is the right way to get at the reality. Because reality is not only physical.
True.
There beyond that, there is got the pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, anandamaya kosha, and all this form the total creation. So this is in Vedanta called as the sthula, sukshma and karana. That the gross, subtle and causal. Anandamaya kosha is the causal state, from there the whole creation has come. This is called as Jagat.
True.
Jagat means Jagatyan Jagat, that which goes on changing. In all these things, changes are occurring. For example, in the body, in a day, a billion cells get created, a billion cells get destroyed. Therefore, since we met here, already in a few minutes, our bodies have changed. So, what to talk about the prana, mind, emotions, everything changing. So, this all we learned. Then we went to the Buddhist philosophy and the Jain and everything. And Buddha and his disciples made a great contribution in what is developing called as the Kshanikavada, based on the temporalness of this entire world. So he brought a huge thesis, dissertation thesis. It became very popular in his times. So everybody had accepted. But there was a brilliant student, he came and told, "Sir, what you have done is wonderful. It's a great contribution you have done. And is there something beyond? If everything is changing, is there something beyond? It does not change." He had no answer. So the next group who came, Mahayana group, they said, yes, it is zero. It is Shunya. That's how the Kshanikavada and then Shunyavada came up into the whole thing.
True.
But then when Shankaracharya came, how can be Shunya? This fantastic world that you have, can it come from a Shunya, from a zero? No. That also should be infinite. Purnamadaha, Purnamidam said, this is full, that also should be full. That cannot be Shunya. That's how the Advaita came. These are all incorporated in the Upanishads and other. And what is the relation between the two? Purnat, Purnam, Buddhatyate. This word comes from that Purna. So if this comes out of that, what happens to that? Will it become a zero? You have got in your pocket $100, I take and give it to him. It becomes empty. X minus x is zero. So will it become a zero? No. Because x minus x is zero is law of the finite world. Infinity minus infinity can be infinity.
Infinity, not zero.
Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam eva avasishyate. It is said. This is the Advaita philosophy. So therefore, Upanishad says that you all are infinite originally. From that infinite we have come. Therefore Swami Vivekananda said, each soul is potentially divine. The goal of life is to bring the divinity. That divinity is infinite knowledge, infinite power, infinite freedom, infinite bliss. That's what we are. So that's the whole thing.
Amazing.
This has to be brought into factor.
Great.
So this is the whole philosophy that came up, and we are totally convinced and said this is the way that we have to go.
Yes. So when I look at you and your work, I found that there is a great effect of Swami Vivekananda on whatever you are doing. So how is it like you are getting so connected to him, and like as a guru you are playing so much role in so many people who are following you? like at international level also, at global level, like everyone is praising you, and government of India also praise you with Padma Shri also, the highest award. So, and you are also connecting with our beloved Prime Minister also, Shri Narendra Modi ji. So, what role you are playing there also, and what you think like at global level these things are going to play, like we are also seeing like at global level, like everyone is praising yoga. So, is the time as changing?
Swami Vivekananda was the person who was able to bring this knowledge base to the world at large in his own term. You know, the Parliament of Religions in Chicago, 1893, September 11th. When he gave the talk, all people were mesmerized. He heralded the grandeur of India in the world at large in the Parliament of Religions. And he said at that time, objective of religion is to take us to reality and to bring harmony, love, peace, and bring wonderful world family we have to do. But what we have done, if you look at past decades and century or so, in the name of religion, people have fought wars after wars and massacred millions of people and flown rivers of blood. So we have to stop this. Let this August conference, Parliament of Religions, take a decision that we will no more wage wars in the name of religion, he said.
Yeah.
And that was a wonderful thing which he gave, and the whole America was simply hypnotized. That's the grand thing.
True.
Then he expanded the vision of yoga into Gnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. Earlier in Parampara, yoga meant only Patanjali Yoga.
True.
Then we had Karma, Bhakti and Gnana separately. But he said for the modern times, everything is to be taken there, he expanded. Therefore, this influences. So when I found that this has to be done, I started practicing all these things, Gnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. Then Aurobindo says for modern man, you need all the four.
True.
You need integral yoga. It is not one particular thing. So that's how we expanded our vision and started working. And how to apply this thing. Swamiji said, combine the best of the East with the best of the West.
True.
Modern scientific research you should not neglect. You have to bring this thing. Today we are in the age of science and research and other things. Everything you need research. You need evidence base.
True.
If you say yoga helps in eyesight improvement, you can remove your specs. If I say, you will ask how it's possible. Then what is the mechanism? The whole research we have to show, and show this happens. So therefore he said we have to bring research. Therefore we developed this organization as a research organization. Vivekananda Yoga Research Foundation. Initially, 1986 we registered. Whole thing is based on research. Today there are maybe not thousand, maybe lakhs of yoga studios, organizations, everything all over the world. But what our thing stands erect is scientific research. The research that we have done is unparalleled. No institution had done this much of research that we have done, and we will continue doing that more and more, number one. So this is based on the teachings of Swami Vivekananda. Therefore, when Modi ji came here in 1983, first time, then he is also a great devotee of Vivekananda. He saw scientific research is coming up, how it is shaping up everything, and then he also started working with us and then started learning. When he became the Chief Minister of Gujarat, he used to call our team every year and then come on, let's go there and then learn yoga. All his cabinet ministers and others were coming. We used to have two separate groups. In one group, myself and then two of us, teaching. He with his 30 people will be doing this thing, and here about 100 people were doing this thing. 3 days, 4 days, he started learning. He is so brilliant, fantastic, Now, no more he needs any teaching.
True.
He will teach everybody.
Correct. And he is also like working at a global level, and what I feel like as a leader, when you are following something, like it's giving a role model to others also. That's why everyone like globally, like everyone is expecting yoga. And I was reading somewhere like at the background you were also present like in making this 21 June as an International Day of Yoga. Like Modi ji was at the front ground, but you have made a lot of groundwork there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Actually, this all was happening in Europe. Our Amrit Suryanand, he was doing this type of yearly thing, to bring a lot of people and then develop this. And then he said that we should develop this as a day of yoga for the whole world. Then he came here, and then we had that time V.K. Saingar, Shri Amrit Suryananda, all of us sat here and then said, we should think something like this thing to make yoga spread all over the world. And when we have to do, then June 21st. Why? That is the longest day. Now we are telling that in the name of Patanjali we should take this thing some other day. But we all decided yes, 21st is a good day because we have the longest day. We decided. Then we took it to the Modi ji and he was going for UNO. But what happens in UNO, you have to bring this as an agenda 6 months before.
Okay.
But it was not happening. Therefore I told him, you give a talk and then let's see what happens.
Yes.
You know. And then he had absorbed this thing. He gave such a brilliant talk.
Yes.
You know, everybody accepted. And for the first time, UNO without an agenda, the 21st June was made this thing. It's a great achievement. You know. Then our Modi ji said that what I was very surprised, he said, was 45 Islamic countries came forward, yes, we approve.
Amazing.
You know, this is an amazing thing that happened.
Yes.
Because what was happening earlier, in Malaysia we had our work from several decades. A lot of our yoga teachers were teaching yoga and it was all going on. But about 14 years back, when the new administration came, new Prime Minister, they were very strong Islamic people and they said yoga is Hindu, therefore we don't allow, ban.
Correct.
So many of our teachers were all in doldrums.
Yes.
No, they didn't know what to do. But once the IDY came, I went there to Kuala Lumpur and there they called Education Minister, Health Minister called me, how to bring yoga. We want yoga and I take a big way. And they started celebrating International Day of Yoga in such a way. This is the big transformation that has brought in the whole world, even in the Islamic countries. Recently I was in UAE, that Muscat, Bahrain and also the Saudi everywhere. Saudi is a very strong Islamic thing. And the burqa was a must for all women. But now it has been made optional.
Correct.
Women were not allowed to drive. Now it has been possible. Such transformation happening in the world at large. That is the grandeur of the spread of yoga everywhere.
Yes.
You know?
And the base of that is somewhat scientific research for that we are doing.
Exactly.
Like now we are not just following anything blindly, we are taking it for like scientific ground at the same time and following what is actually working out. So next what I want to like go into a little bit more, like you are, I want to talk about the Svyasa movement, like whole of so many activities are going on. Once I was reading an article of Swami Vivekananda, he write that in India, if you want to collect 4 or 5 people, it's very difficult to do that because in India we put our personal interest there. But when you do that in foreign countries, they come because they are more professionally inclined in that. So when I myself come to Svyasa, I feel this is going at a very perfect way. Like everyone is putting themselves same way, and it's like I can connect with you. Like you are so simply to connect with everyone. So like what is you are putting in all of them, like they are putting themselves in so much like 100% in the same way, but without even developing an ego, because what happened that spiritual ego somewhere developed. So what is that way for that? Like,
see, Eknathji Ranade was the person who trained all of us in Vivekananda Kendra. He said we have to make yoga a socially relevant science according to Swami Vivekananda. So earlier people were doing yoga and then deep practices, going to Himalayas and doing that, limited only at few people.
yes,
But now it has to be brought down. All the advantages and grandeur of yoga and its usefulness should be brought to the people at large. Now you have to bring down. Therefore, Modi ji said, yes, we have to bring. IDY came up like these things and others. Here what we did was, we started bringing yoga into all aspects. Most important is school. Eknathji had said, let us start yoga in schools. So in Arunachal Pradesh, they started work on bringing yoga to the school curriculum. We developed the necessary dimensions of yoga. How to make yoga a socially relevant science, for example, for children, for men, women, health problems, everything yoga has to be tailor-made for them. So for children, what is to be done in the field of education? Again, Swami Vivekananda has given the direction. Education is the manifestation of perfection already in man, he said. He said, we do not want just bread-earning education which run riots in our brain, but we need man-making, nation-building education we want. So he said, how to bring this man-making education, how nation-building education? We all sat together and started thinking about it. And we had educationalists, we have got child psychiatrists, health professionals and doctors. In Kanyakumari we all sat and discussing. Finally we decided every class we should have a specific personality to be developed. What is most needed? For example, in class 1, what is important is eyesight. Therefore, you develop the modules for eyesight improvement. Then second year is voice culture and hearing development. Then the physical stamina development, memory development, IQ development, creativity development, innovation, then stress management, ego management. These are all the dimensions. That's what we call as a fourfold personality development: physical, mental, emotional, intellectual. Then fourfold consciousness. We have to build civic sense, patriotism, service search and spiritual just. So for them we develop a program. Then what yoga practices to be brought? Asana, pranayama, mudras, bandhas, kriyas, meditation. And more important is Krida yoga.
Okay, yeah,
That
definitely.
is games, yogic games and singing, bhajans, all these things, all that we brought and developed this entire program. And it became a big success. We did research there and then showed how they can develop all these things. It started going around. Government also was very fascinated. They said we need teachers training program. 1 month teacher training program we started and all over the country. And Goa came first forward. The education secretary was there. Svyasa, he said, in all our Goa schools we want teacher training, go ahead and do. And Karnataka came forward in all the things. We had 3,500 people. All over the country, we had 65,000 teachers were trained.
Amazing.
To bring this entire thing throughout the country. It all took about 25 years,
Amazing.
Then Eknath said, you have to go next to the higher education. Don't limit here. Go to Bangalore, develop this university and develop everything. But how to bring this thing, We had Professor NVC Swami. He was the director of IIT Chennai.
Yes.
He came after his retirement. He came in 91, 92. And then we started working on this thing to develop the syllabus, the semester system, examination, tests, how to do this. All things was a challenge. And with our knowledge we had, one side the modern scientific knowledge, another side our Vivekananda's knowledge and then Upanishad thing. We were able to build everything. If I had built a university in a conventional way, engineering and everything, we would have gone, 100 times more. But we wanted to bring Indian traditional base. So we all did this thing. And by 2002 we got this university and started developing. Then we said, okay, Swamiji had to go to America to bring this. If you do only here, it will not happen. So we should have a university in America.
America also.
So in Los Angeles, we had our work. We started working. And the people said, how can I have a university for yoga? Because their knowledge was yoga means only asana, some physical exercise, Then we told what we have done here and showed. Then VASC is there and then they started doing that. We gave all documents. 3-4 years we put this thing and finally we got approval from something like SNAC. There is this thing there. They approved these things and wow, you came up. Vivekananda Yoga University. So people who want American degree, they can take from there. If they want Indian degree, they can take here. This is how it started spreading.
Amazing, Guruji. And what I feel, I was reading about that, there's the one thing called, because I find to express the spirituality in that material world, it's quite difficult, challenging. And there, the role is played by your laboratory, Anveshana. Can you tell a little bit about that and the people who want to do research? Like, what is its research like to combine the spirituality and this material? Because quite to look for the scientist, like you were both, like in spirituality also, you are scientist also. That's why you are like a yogi scientist. So how to combine those? Because somewhere scientists suffer for that, like how is it possible? How can be a reality which is not possible for us is possible? So how is that, like what role
spirituality is all combined in our Upanishads. According to Upanishads, we have got 5 layers. That is physical body, Annamaya Kosha, then Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. So in the physical body, we can measure what all is happening today, and modern technology has grown. We can see what is happening in the brain, what is happening in the body, every organ system, everything we can measure today. So we set up a lab to measure all these things here. So we have got atomic lab, then we have got the brain research lab, then the genetic lab. You can see what is happening in the genes, what is happening to atomic parameters, what is happening to all blood, everything. We set up the lab.
Mm.
Therefore, we have the lab to measure everything what's happening in the body.
Amazing.
This alone will not do. This is only the physical thing. But what about pranamaya kosha, how to measure? So we have been working with Princeton lab for a long time, and there we developed. Similarly with Russia, we have been working with them, and we developed the Killian photography. It came as DDB and became the BioWell. There's a lot of growth in this thing. How to measure the pranamaya kosha? Now we have got equipment called BioWell.
Okay.
Using BioWell, you can get a complete photograph of the pranamaya kosha.
Amazing.
And see how the different prana, apana, samana, udana, vyana, how they are all changing. You can all measure. And how in every organ and system in the body, there are the imbalances that are there, which can be tracked. Quantitatively, we can measure. So this has been standardized for the last 40 years, started from 1960s. So by 1990, it all got standardized, and then we are using that.
Amazing.
So we can measure pranamaya kosha.
Yes.
And similarly, the manomaya kosha, how the mind and this thing can be measured. There are psychological questionnaires and others, many PhDs came up, we can measure that.
Yes.
Intellectual level, how we can measure the IQ level. Mentally retarded, how we can measure IQ, it's all we standardized. Like this, in all the koshas, how we can measure, we have made this. This is the speciality of our Anveshna.
True.
Nowhere in the world we have Anveshna lab like this. So we have got the grass that is available in many places, nothing special, but we have everything. But then we have pranamaya, manomaya, vijnana, anandamaya kosha also to be measured.
True.
This is our speciality.
Wonderful.
So when people come, we know what is happening to the entire system, not merely the physical body alone. So that's how spirituality and the modern science and this physical thing were integrated in the whole thing.
Correct. Very, very nice, Guruji. And it's like impelling for all of us to go into this yoga only. Now, one thing I want to ask, like once Nagendra said, like mother guides him, whatever he is doing in the world, like so many mathematics, he was a great mathematician. So how do you get that guidance? Is it your meditation? Like here, so many things are new, like cyclic meditation, MSRT and all, and the base is somewhat Upanishad, as you mentioned in that. So what is the guidance, like what is the guiding factors behind that? And second thing, what I want to know, like you are Guruji definitely and we love you, but are you also feeling some challenges dealing with people and in your life? It's somewhat personal question. So can you share somewhat challenges like you face in your life so that we can drive an inspiration from you as well? Because we all get in challenges in our life, get failure sometimes, we get dissatisfied, we get depressed. So is that somewhere happened with you also?
This meditation, then we have got the complete asana, pranayama, mudras, bandhas, kriyas, everything I practice. When I was in Kanyakumari, we used to have our Janardhan Swamiji. He said, now you have to cleanse your entire body, this thing, by various kriyas. Then how many kriyas are there? 6 kriyas. Then we started learning and then started doing. Then even if you take one particular kriya, there are a number of things which are there. And he started doing the pranayama and everything. He was a master. He's a very simple, ideal yogi. And Janardhan Swami from Maharashtra. And I started learning. Then I started that I want to learn all the kriyas. How many kriyas are there? Then he went on teaching me everything, about 35, 40 kriyas. Then one day I asked him, so how many more kriyas are there? Swamiji said, I don't know. I know about 560 kriyas, only kriyas. Then I said, enough for me. Let's stop. Yes. That is the tremendous growth that we have in this thing dimension.
True.
Only left and right nostril, he showed there is one book, Swara Yoga, whole book, only practices, about 80 pages. So many methods of this, only alternate nostril breathing, how it is going to bring this thing. Such is the vast amount of knowledge that we have in these things. So we must practice and start doing that. So when people are there, they should unravel these things which are there and its applications and others we have to do. So that is the great thing that our ancient masters had done. And we have to develop such people who practice. Then how to make it very useful to the people. And dealing with the cancer was our major challenge. In cancer thing, we have to work not only at the body by giving deep rest. What happens in immune system, it gets suppressed because of the stress. Stress has a immunosuppressant factor. Therefore, you have to release the stress. So we started developing the stress relief program, and cyclic meditation was brought. Because many other meditation also will release. For example, TM can reduce the stress by about 13-14%.
Yes.
Other things also will do. Then Yoga Nidra can reduce 9%, 10%. We wanted to have much deeper. So we went into the Shastra. Mandukya Upanishad, there's a Karika, Mandukya Karika. There has given the secret. Then we started using that. Therefore, within 35 minutes, you can bring as much as 32% reduction in the metabolic rate compared to 13% in TM and other things. So we were able to give very deep rest to the system. Therefore, cancer started wonderfully developing. We had a number of cancer patients who were declared almost dead. We started working with them, and cyclic meditation worked wonders for them.
True.
They all started improving. Then, after some time, there was a relapse. Normally what happens, the immune system gets into the problem. Then we had to work at the deeper level, prana level. We started developing. Pranic healing was there, but I was not very happy, it is not very scientific. So we started developing pranic energization technique. How to actually, experience prana, how to measure the prana, everything. We started doing pranic energization technique, PET came up. So we had a few people, he started using that, again they became normal, But after 1.5 years, again they get into problem. Then we developed the techniques at the Manomaya Kosha, MSRT, MEMT, MIAT, all these things we did, Then again using that, they started improving. We had one person who was there, who used to have this thing. He has very severe bone cancer, and he went on improving. Each time within 6 months, he will get into the next problem. Then the doctor said, no, he is gone. Only 1 more week, finished. Then we developed a deeper dimension, and then again he came back. And Dr. Krishna Bhargavadas were very surprised. Then like this it went on. Then we developed the Vijnanamaya Kosha, then Anandamrut Sanchana, everything. All the 7 techniques we developed. Because it was the need for him.
True.
There was it. And we started using, he started improving.
Yes.
And with that thing, he lived almost 18 years. In the beginning, when he got this thing, our Dr. Krishna Bhargava in Kidwai Memorial, he said, he will not live more than 3 months. He lived for 18 years.
Great.
And very, very useful life. Very happy life, and then did a lot of work on this thing. So this enthusiasm, this is how we developed all this advanced technique with a social relevance. It is not only to feel the prana or other things, but how it can be used to deal with cancer.
Yes.
And hundreds of cancer patients we have dealt with in this thing. This was what fascinated people in MD Anderson Cancer Center, the biggest cancer center. And they said we should take these things and start working. And we had a lot of research there, published paper, That's how we went. So for all these advanced techniques, it's not only self-fulfillment or getting some Kundali Yoga and other Siddhis,
Yes.
It has to be socially relevant.
True.
This is what we want to do that.
And this is what Swami Vivekananda also said, it's not for us, it's for Jana Seva. And that's what you are taking. That's a specialty about, you are not just doing for ourselves, that's not selfishness, it's more of selflessness, we're sharing. So now we are coming to some myths that we have in yoga, because I know I'm taking more time with you. So there are some myths in yoga, all of people are suffer with them. There is a myth with something called brahmacharya. Generally people mistaken it for that sexual incontinence that we have to, we should not get indulged in. So anything on that, what's the deep insight with that? Because you are searching about all of these things. So anything you can say about that, what's that brahmacharya real sense is all about?
Brahmacharya in its real sense means being in tune with Brahman. All the time in tune with ultimate reality. Yogastaha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. This is the main thing. That is the real meaning of brahmacharya. Brahmani charati is brahmachari. Tasya bhava brahmacharya. That is the highest meaning of brahmacharya. But in the grossest form, it is to gain control and mastery over this sex. Sexual incontinence, this comes up. So there normally that is the highest attraction among all the senses.
True.
The sexual attraction is the highest thing which is there. Therefore invariably we get lost in this sexual thing.
True.
And Rajneesh, he made a lot of these things and then made that from sex to super consciousness. Yes. He started doing that. During that period I was also in Pune to give different talks, So then I also told there is also a reference in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad about these things, about these things, sexual thing. In the sexual thing, what happens when the sexual thing happens, there is a mind that goes into that samadhi state for a while. But what happens? Then you come back. Then you get lost. So what is to be done in the Tantra Shastra is that once you start doing these things, then you get into that state and stop doing any more of the sexual things and others. Otherwise you get lost into this thing and you get addicted to this and you lose this thing. That portion Rajneesh missed in this thing.
That's why he got
That's why he got lost,
Yeah.
and then the whole movement, got shattered into the whole thing. So this is the dimension that we had to bring. In the Tantra Shastra, therefore, it was always very, very clear that when you do this thing, you must have a guru who will immediately, at a particular time, will take you out from these things, and then do not allow you to again do these things. So get a glimpse of that to do these things, So when you do this sexual act, you should do. Then, therefore, it should be when they married sex at that time, when they have this, for male, female, when they do this thing, you have to experience that, dimension of thing and see that you stay in that silence, stay that in samadhi state more and more.
True.
And once you do that, it will become constant and then continuously you stay in that one. So it is not necessary we have to do only through the sex. This is one of the things which is promoted when you have marriage and other things and others. But America is a free society, free sex everywhere. They started doing this thing, and Rajneesh also made use of this thing and did all these things, But it went into the wrong direction.
Correct.
I was hoping that he is going to bring this as a way by which people will do this thing, but it did not happen. Therefore, that is the whole essence of Tantra Shastra which is there in brahmacharya. But in the regular thing, you get into that silence of this is there and stay in this thing. Even with the sexual thing is not there, you can do this thing.
Yes.
So the normal, healthy way of doing it is by control over the sexual things. In the brahmacharya, in your normal thing, you should not have the sexual thing. Particularly when you are a student, when you are doing education, when you are growing, you should completely have the control over the senses, particularly the sexual thing. Unfortunately, to even the education system today, it has become so prominent and free sex has become such a common thing. And as a result, the whole society is in doldrum.
True.
In America, I feel so bad because the entire education system is gone. I remember when I used to be in 71, 73, 74, divorces started coming. By 74, normally for an American, there used to be one divorce. By 77, it became 2 divorces. By 79, 80, it became 3 divorces. 81, 4. Then I said, why marry divorce, marry divorce? Let us live as long as we want together. And the whole marriage institution collapsed. Why this happened? All because of the wrong notion.
True.
The free sex in this thing. So therefore, in our country we had experimented this long ago, thousands of years back. Our people also has realized. And based on that, then they developed this entire thing. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, in this thing we have. Shaucha, Santosh, Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhana, Niyamaha. Then we have the other thing in which brahmacharya, aparigraha, Niyamaha. Yes. So brahmacharya has to be done. So among now, Niyama are the foundation. This will build a healthy, good society in the whole thing. This is what Patanjali has brought. And this is what all the Manodharma Shastra also brings about.
Yes. Wonderful, Guruji, and it's like a deep insight that what you said, and what I can get out from it, it's more of transformation, your energy to higher centers that we can take.
Exactly.
So, lastly, for few questions, like someone asked me to ask Guruji, like Guruji is doing so much work, and we are also trying to do, like, why is that, like, some people like you, like Pandit Shri Ram Sharma Acharya ji, Swami Vivekananda ji, they are able to reach so much level, and we as a human being are not able to, like, we somewhere like suffer with that. So what like touched you? Is it spirituality, meditation, or is it your guru who takes you so much high? And for people like we, who are living in material life, it's very tough to go to that level. So what's the difference?
It's all a continual growth process. We all do certain good karmas, therefore we have good samskaras. From tamas to rajas, rajas to sattva. We are all born with certain quantum of tamas, rajas and sattva. And you have an opportunity in our life to develop our sattva more and more. Also, you have an opportunity to develop rajas also. You can develop tamas also. Whatever you want, you
Yeah.
can do. This is the freedom that we all have. So by continuous process, understanding that sattva is good for me, I want to move towards the sattva. I do all practices to do and develop my sattva more and more, more and more.
True.
And by the time I reach my end of my life, sattva has become more, maybe about 60-70% everything, and then others are less. And when I die, in the next birth, I will take up this thing, and then I start up with 70-80%, and then grow further. So like that, there's a continuity of life. All this thing goes on, and then we go on improving. Probably Vivekananda and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa are great, because in their previous samskaras, they have all gone through these things, and when they are born, they are developed these things.
Correct.
Similarly, there are musical prodigies, there is Ramanujam, then mathematical prodigy, Shakuntala Devi. They all had done previous life. When they come here, they become musical prodigy. How a young girl or a boy, at the age of 1, they all start singing so nicely.
True.
It's their previous karma.
Correct.
This is called as the Sanchita karma, which is there, and comes out as this thing. So this is how when we are born, it's all our own thing. Why some people take such a long time to learn the yoga dimension, even dhyana. I know some of the people who are meditating for 30 years, and they come and say, when I sit there, my mind wanders. I cannot stay in this thing. 30 years they are doing. Why? It is samskara, So we have to do. That's why Patanjali says the sadhana should be long. How long sadhana should be there? Sato dirgha kala, nairantarya, satkara sevato drida bhumihi. It can be the whole life. It can be 20 years, 30 years, everything. But some people, right from childhood, just they will do like this thing. They will sit there, Vivekananda sat there, and then Ramakrishna touched, he went into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. How this can happen? It's all the samskaras that we have built.
True.
Therefore, it is the samskara that makes the difference. Everybody is different, and everybody has different levels. So that's how you have to develop. You have come into the line because your samskaras towards yoga is there, because you are previous birth. Some people do not come to this thing. They also know, how many people actually come into this line of yoga. Manushyanam sahasreshu kachid yatat siddhaya. Yatadamupi siddhadam kachin mam tattvataha. So lakhs of people, when they come into this thing, only a few come into this thing, And out of these, thousands of these people, there will be a few who are going to do this thing. Then out of this thing, one person may get a samadhi. That is the dimension.
Great.
That's all the samskara.
Great, Guruji. I am feeling a great energy by your insight. And last, we are coming to the game of 3. That is, we know that 3 is a very important number in spirituality. Also, that's why I choose this. So I will ask you 3 things, like 3 places, 3 people, 3 books that really you want to suggest to others. Like we always look for something to look for the like inspiration. So like whatever came to your mind, you just
My trinity is Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Sharadama, Swami Vivekananda.
Great.
Books written by Swami Vivekananda on this thing. And the books that I have written also can go through yoga, its basis and application. That's the first book which you have to do. Related to yoga for positive health, related to health. And then the other thing is our SMET, New Perspective in Stress Management. These are the 3 books I recommend, which I have condensed all this knowledge into those books, into these 3.
Great.
And they want to go deeper and deeper. In the traditional way, you will say that you must have the Bhagavad Gita. People should take up Swami Chinmayananda's, That is just like Bible is, Like that we have got book on this thing, Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
That we should read.
Great,
People should take up Chinmayananda's book on Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, we have got Upanishads and other different books they can take.
Okay. Any 3 places that you look to, like you really feel great about going to those places and they inspire you? Any 3 places you want to suggest to others, like they can also look for them?
No, Ayodhya has come. Ayodhya is a fantastic thing. And Kashi, they should go. Ujjain corridor also has become fantastic. These 3 they must, is a must.
Okay.
And they must come here for learning also for these things, They must do a YAC 1-month program and other.
Great, Guruji. So we are finally coming to an end, and it's really great experience for me to connect with you, to sit at your feet and hearing all these like great energy and great inspiration. I want you just to say the last few words that you want to convey to the audience, like to the young people, whatever your final message is to all of them.
This year our target for IDY is going to be 30 crores.
Amazing.
So everybody should see that they start practicing the simple yoga protocol and see that they teach and bring this to all their family members and see that yoga spreads all over the country to greater and great extent. Ministry of Police gives a target of 30 crores. We should even reach 35 crores this year.
Great.
That is my ambition this year.
Great, Guruji, great. And it's really great to have honor to you on our platform, Anandyatra. And I hope, that's why I put the name Anandyatra, because we are all on the journey of Ananda only.
That's the right thing to
Yes,
do.
and I hope all of you have enjoyed this session with our beloved Guruji, and you can see this whole podcast to see what are the insights of Guruji, what he thinks about, to go into his heart, to know about him. You can see this, and the vision that which he is living is to spread the yoga, to spread the teachings of Swami Vivekananda, Shardama, to all others. So thank you, Guruji, for coming to this platform, and really thanks a lot for coming to this.
Thank you. I wish all the best that the Ananda Yatra take everybody into this Ananda Yatra towards the Anandamaya Kosha. That is the real yoga.
Great, great, Guruji. Thanks a lot.
Good
Thanks.
name you have taken. Thank you.
Nagendra podcast, A Way to Bliss, is hosted by Ashish, who has a deep desire to connect with people, to converse with people on their journey of yoga in search of bliss and their life transforming stories which can heal your body, mind, and soul. If you find these conversations insightful, please share with your close ones to heal their mind.